Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the EEARSS podcast produced by Terrier TV here at Titusville High School. My name is Frank Robb. That is Bill Curtis. Cindy is here in spirit. We're hoping she gets feeling better.
Yes.
Yeah, she's battling the crud.
Yes. Well, I will tell you from school, there's a lot of that going around, man.
I keep hearing about everybody being sick. Like
Yes.
everybody's sick. Everybody's got the flu. They've got COVID. They've got sinus infections.
Yeah, there's a
weird
lot
upper
of it.
respiratory things going on.
Yeah, I had
It sounds like literal chaos.
Yeah, my daughter was in the emergency room a couple weeks ago
Really?
for the flu because she has asthma, and so it exacerbated her asthma, and so
Yikes.
she ended up in the emergency room.
Is she okay now?
Oh yeah. Shoot, they did their little hocus pocus, whatever, and
Stuck her
she
with
was
needles.
fine. Yeah,
Stuck her with needles, and now she feels
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. Then she's fine.
I was at Rockledge High School yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went there and saw Mr. LeBlanc, who we had on a
Right.
couple weeks ago,
Right. Okay.
and talked to his class. That was I have never been at Rockledge High School before. I didn't realize that until I was on campus, and I thought their school this is how ignorant I was on the topic. I thought their school was near their football field, which
No,
they're like
no.
us. I didn't realize
Yes,
that
they
they
were-
still
yep.
do that.
Yeah, because they really have no room.
Yeah, I didn't realize theirs was like Dre Field. Theirs is like way across town.
Right. Well, they used to share that field with Coco.
Did they? See, I
Yes,
didn't know that either.
Just like us and Astronaut. They McClarty Stadium, they shared it with Coco.
So here is the question I have then.
Okay.
Was the Tigers showing up at that stadium, or was it showing up at their current stadium when it used to show up back in the
No,
day?
it showed up at McClarty because, yeah, that's where it was.
Did you know this, Dave? I'm going to ask
Mhm.
you this question. Did you know that there was somebody at Cocoa High School that used to bring an actual tiger to the games?
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
did not know that.
It was like in the 80s, man. It
I
was a
wouldn't have
while
wanted to
ago.
go there either.
It was a while ago.
It's hilarious stuff.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's wow. Yeah, it was a very very neat school. It reminded me of old Riverview here,
Right.
where it was
Yeah,
just
a lot of brick.
very
Yep,
very
lot of
cool
red
school.
brick. Yep.
Spent a lot of years in Riverview.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I graduated here in '84.
Okay.
There you
okay.
go.
Yep.
You ready to jump into talking to
Yeah,
our guests?
let's do it.
Chat with our guests. So today on the podcast, we are joined by David Fusco. We'll call you Dave. Is that okay, Dave? We'll call you
Perfect.
Dave. After I say Dave
Absolutely.
5 times.
That's fine.
You run a business called Showers and Closets, where you work. You literally you are molding showers and closets.
We custom fab everything.
Okay. You just kind of hinted to the fact that you are actually from Brevard County.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Was born in Cleveland, Ohio. We moved down here when I was 5, and other than a short stint of about 3 or 4 years, moving away, been here ever since.
Yeah, you graduated at THS in what year?
84. I didn't want to say that out loud, but
That's the same. My brother was here at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother was here in '84 too. Whenever you came on campus, it was interesting seeing you look around. Like that building wasn't there. This wasn't here. This is all. It's quite a bit different. Isn't
oh
it?
yeah, just the years of driving by and watching the things change, and it's like,
Mhm.
you know,
I've felt the same way. It's
the
been,
kids
yeah.
today wouldn't do Riverview because, we didn't have air conditioning. We had fans on in the classrooms.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
it, and then we had driver's ed out back there and everything, and
Mhm.
it was a lot of fun.
There was a heck of a hike too when you were up here for a class and you
Oh
had to
yeah.
hike
Oh, yeah.
yourself all the way down there to that
If
end.
you were all the way down at ROTC and you had to go,
To
because English and social studies was down in Riverview. If you
Yep.
had to go down there,
Yeah.
I had
It was a
German
hike.
down there too
oh yes,
with
yes,
Miss Blanner.
yes, yeah.
So
with Frau
I think I
Blanner,
had
yeah.
Miss Connors was my American Lit.
Okay,
So
I've been here since '95,
okay.
so some of them were still here when I
Okay.
was here. Yeah, like
Was-
Frau Blanner. Yeah, oh, definitely.
Frau Blanner.
Yes.
Oh my garage. This is hilarious.
I only took German because she was so pretty.
Uh-huh. There you go.
So tell us a little bit about your journey after high school. What did you do, and how long was it until you started your own business? What was the kind of the journey in between?
It was quite a long journey, actually. After high school, I went to work for a company that did, it was called Brevard Insulation. So we did, insulation, blown in, bat, all that. And then we also did the shelving, mirrors, and shower enclosure. And towards the end of that, I kind of got into the mirrors and shelving and shower enclosures towards the very end before I decided to leave for a few years.
Yeah.
And ended up living up in Maryland for a few years, and got into the trucking business.
When you were first working and all that, doing the showers and closets and stuff, and doing that for somebody else, was there any point where you thought, you know what, I could one day start a business and do this for myself? Did you?
Not a
did
clue.
It never even thought about
even crossed my mind. Nope. Had no idea that I would ever be doing this for a living, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
Hold on a second. Yeah. So the trucking, you're in Maryland. What were you doing in the trucking industry?
Well, my dad had a trucking company, and I went up there and started working with him.
Okay.
And, I got that good. We hauled Budweiser.
Oh, okay.
And for the most part, we were hauling into Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And down into North Carolina.
So were you going to the distributors then?
Correct. From the brewery in Williamsburg.
Okay.
Sometimes we'd go up to the brewery in Newark, New Jersey.
Gotcha.
And come back down. We'd haul into D.C. We'd haul into Annapolis, Maryland, North Carolina. And but I remember when I first went up there, I wasn't working for him. I went up and got a job, and everything kind of morphed towards me going to work with Dad. And I'd never driven a semi. Drive anything, put me behind the wheel, So one day we decided to make the switch, and we get in the truck, and it was a 3-hour ride down to Williamsburg. So he let me drive down a little bit empty here and there. Stop and I'd drive empty. Then we got our load of beer, so now we're up to 80,000 pounds.
Yep.
And
now let me ask you, did that slosh, was that a problem?
No.
Okay.
The loads, once they go in the trailer, they're stabilized and everything. So if something does slosh, you got a problem.
You got a problem. Oh yeah. Yeah.
If you start smelling beer, you got a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But he let me drive back a little bit loaded. Okay, so we got back to DC, dropped, and got an empty trailer, and we was heading home, and we stopped and got something to eat and everything. And the next morning, we got up, it was like 5 o'clock or something like that to go down and get another load. He threw me the keys and said, "Good luck."
There you go. Okay.
That was my training.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, when we got back, I did take the truck and trailer down to the local school and practice backing up.
I was going to ask you about backing up. That was always the hardest thing for me.
Now I'm going to tell a really bad story on myself, which it's still funny to this day. So my uncle was the warehouse manager at the Budweiser distributor in D.C. And then there was another gentleman that had his own truck, and he hauled as well for the same distributor. So when you got to this distributor, you had to pull in alongside the building and back around 180 degrees to get into the docks.
Oh, okay.
It was tough.
That sounds crazy.
It was on a corner,
and
DC,
it's blind.
It's old,
you can't see.
Well, you could see because it was on the driver's side. You're backing around.
Oh, okay. Good. Okay.
So, but when we dropped it, my dad told me right then and there, he's like, door number 1 is the hardest because it's the tightest turn.
Right.
Of course, I get back into DC, and what's the only door open? Door number 1. First shot, backed it in perfect. Dropped the trailer, went over, hooked on the empty, backed it out. Dad comes in and says, "So how'd it go?" I said, "Perfect." I said, "I made it first shot, Dad." He said, "Really?" He said, "That's awesome." He said, "Did you forget anything?"
Oh, no.
And I'm like,
Lord.
I don't know what I could have forgotten. He's like, "Did you ever open the doors on the trailer?"
Oh, no.
They roll the door because swing doors.
Right.
They open the door on the dock to unload the trailer, and the doors are closed.
Doors are closed. You got to pull the trailer forward in order to open those doors.
Right. Plus the load locks. Didn't grab the load locks out and put in the other trailer. Luckily, Doug, the other driver, wasn't too far behind me or whatever, and he'd pulled it off and opened it up.
Oh, otherwise it's just stuck there and there's nothing you can do.
There's no way they can unload it.
Right, they can't unload it. Yeah.
I got ribbed for that for a
very
long time.
I bet you they didn't let you forget that.
No.
That's a world I know so little about. I can't even have an intelligent conversation about it. You know what I mean? You guys both understand it.
It's a different world driving a semi.
Oh yeah.
Did you enjoy those times?
I love driving a truck. back then.
Yeah.
I don't think I would like it now. Just the roads are too crowded and everything.
Yeah.
The nice part about it was you had a nice line of sight. You could see over traffic, so a lot of things weren't a surprise. I never can understand why you see some of these semis riding right behind each other. Drives me crazy seeing that. It's like, dude, somebody hits the brakes, we're all gonna die. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Things again. Never been in that perspective.
Yeah, he's right. You could see so far down, and you knew if something was coming.
right, you could see a long ways ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which is when you weigh 80,000 pounds is a nice thing to have.
Yes. Yep. You got to give yourself that buffer and everything like that.
Wow.
So
Yeah, because it doesn't stop on a dime.
no, it does not.
No.
Some of those things are pretty quick, though, are they not? They actually, I imagine when they're empty, they can
Well,
probably take off pretty quick.
When you're bobtail,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sure. I mean, normally when I was bobtailing, I'd start out in like 5th gear. It's a little chattery to start, but once you hit it, it's gone. And then, I mean, you can usually split, 2 gears at a time when you're bobtail. Well, you're talking like
Bobtail means, Frank, you don't
no
have a trailer.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I understand what it means in alligator world.
Oh, okay. That's probably a different.
cut that tail off.
Oh my garage.
Same
Y-
difference.
Yes, I understand what it means when they're bobtailed in alligator. So I
Okay.
kind of got the idea.
Just like a
Okay.
bobcat.
yeah, bobcat.
Sure,
There you
yeah.
go. I like it.
Yep.
Yep.
Makes sense.
So
All right. So when did you leave there, and what did you do after that?
I worked with Dad for a while, and you know how family businesses go.
Yep.
So
Very well.
I decided to buy my own truck, and I got into. At first, I was hauling some produce back and forth and everything, and then I leased my truck on to Justice Boat Transport in Orlando. And I'd never driven out west. Everything was East Coast, okay? And so I leased on, and they said, all right, your first load, you're going to California. I was like, all righty then.
There you go.
And I had 2 stops in California, one in Los Angeles, and the other one was up Santa Rosa. And I left out of here Saturday morning. I had, I think, 4 they were Toyota ski boats. They were like the ski nautiques, but they were made by Toyota and had Lexus engines in them.
Oh, okay.
They're
Wow.
nice, expensive, but it wasn't an oversized load. Everything was,
Mm-hmm.
And I left out of here Saturday morning, and I was sitting in Los Angeles Tuesday morning.
That's pretty
I never
impressive.
This is what blew my mind. From here to where my parents' place was in Maryland was 850 miles. It was over 900 for me to get across Texas. I
Yes.
didn't think I was ever going to get out of
Yes.
Texas.
Oh yeah.
You've
yeah.
made that drive a lot of times, haven't you?
My son and his family live in El Paso.
Okay.
So yeah, when you get to I-10 and it says 880 miles.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I
it is,
remember calling I think I was on the phone with my mother one night, and I was on my way. I was that night on that trip, and it was routing me up to go up to Amarillo. And all I kept telling her was, I'm supposed to be in Amarillo by morning. Old George Strait song.
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's
and,
hysterical.
But that was, and then the guy over at Justice asked me if I've ever drove in mountains. And I'm like, oh yeah, I drove up and down the East Coast. I've been all through, Pennsylvania and all that. He said, son, those ain't mountains. Those are bumps. Wait
Uh-huh.
till you get into Colorado. And oh my goodness.
You get some grades in Colorado. man.
Holy cow. I remember going across there at one point. I was going through Colorado. I had to go through Colorado. And I kept looking off in the horizon. I'm like, man, them clouds look funny. Those weren't clouds. Those were the mountains.
They were mountains.
And
Yeah.
I was
Whoa.
like, whoa.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay, that's interesting.
yep.
And the other thing about out west is I had to explain this to my son before he moved out there. Because if you're on the East Coast, stuff is relatively close together. Out there, it's a distance between places.
Right.
Like 400 miles between stuff is nothing.
yeah, it's
What?
a lot less populated
Yes.
out west.
Yes. It's
Yes.
a lot more spread out.
And then we did have,
Wow.
at one point I had an oversized load, and I was going into Seattle, and we got, what's that, Mount Rainier out
yeah.
there?
Yeah.
And I was on the east side of Mount Rainier at a truck stop, and they stopped all oversized loads from going over Mount Rainier because they were having a blizzard. It was
Oh.
72 degrees at the bottom. We're out walking around short sleeve shirts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're listening to the avalanche cannon shooting up there.
Oh, goodness.
We sat there for 3 days. All oversized loads were stuck there for 3 days.
Just waiting.
And they finally, after 3 days, they said, okay, chain up, you can go over.
Okay.
And of course, as soon as you got over and started coming back down the mountain, it was just rain.
Yep.
But you got up on top of the mountain and you were in 1.5 foot snow on the road. You was pushing it with your bumper.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, and
Yeah, but-
imagine you got, a 12-foot wide boat on and all this stuff, and you're trying to go through all of this.
Yeah,
It sounds like an adventure.
You ever drive with chains on, Frank?
No.
That's a whole different thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you get them on,
I've only seen snow a couple of times.
then you end up taking them off. I mean, you don't have them on for very long.
No, and you're not driving real fast
No.
with them either.
But you definitely need them.
Yes.
But they're a pain to put on. They're a pain to take off.
Yep. And you got to make, and of course, once you get to a little bit of snow, they don't want you to have them on anymore.
Right, because they
you'll tear-
damage the roads.
They
Yeah.
tear the roads up.
Okay.
Yep.
Things I know nothing about again. Yeah, like snow in general. When we had snow here in Florida, a few weeks ago, if I wasn't busy, I wanted to drive up there and see it so bad.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Just I wanted to see like large amounts of snow on the ground, just so
Yeah,
bad I couldn't stand it.
It was snowing in Pensacola, Tallahassee, and
Yeah.
all that.
Oh, yeah.
It
All up
snowed
in the
just-
panhandle.
Just
yeah.
north of Ocala there too was getting quite a bit of snow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Did
anywho.
it stick at all?
Yeah, they
Oh,
had
wow.
a lot of snow on the ground.
Nice.
There was up there in the Panhandle. They had like a foot of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Snow's great
Crazy
to look
amounts.
at
Oh, it
and
is.
play in. Sucks to work in it.
Oh,
yeah.
Or driving it.
Yeah.
Good lord. Okay, trucking's going on.
Yep.
What do you move to after trucking?
Ended up selling my truck,
Okay.
got divorced, and then I was a Merita bread man for a couple of years.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
That was an interesting job.
Now, was that down here?
Yep.
Out of Orlando, the
Nope.
bakery? And
Well, it was the bakery at Orlando, but we ran out of the depot in Rockledge.
Okay. Okay.
You say interesting job. Do you want to you want to go anywhere with that or no?
Oh,
Well,
the stories. I can
that's an
tell.
early morning job.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
2
you guys
o'clock.
are out in the morning. Yeah.
2 a.m.
Because I used to throw papers, and it was me and the bread guy were
Yep.
out. Yep.
We would all. It was so funny. It's kind of funny, but first night on the job. So the depot manager is taking me. Okay. Now I'm not going to say names, but he was about my height, but he probably went 350.
Okay.
He was a very round, rotund guy. Everybody knew him. Everybody liked him. He was a super nice guy. So our first stop is the Publix in Rockledge. We get in there, check in and everything. We get there. Every bread guy in the Brevard County's there, on that aisle.
I had no idea bread ran like that. That it was.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if it's still a thing, but
Oh, yeah, I'm
Like-
sure it's an early
Yeah.
morning thing because you want to get all your store stock before the store's open.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's talking to my boss, and my boss is like, straighten up everything out on the bottom shelf, and I'm down on the bottom shelf. Unbeknownst to me, he's a very flatulent man.
Oh no.
Good lord.
And he proceeds to let loose. And, of course, all the other guys are like, oh, my God, man. And it was bad. They all left the aisle. I'm new. I'm
Right.
the new guy. And I finally just said, dude, I can't deal with it. Gotta get out of here. He's laughing so hard. And it's like, really? First day on the job, and this is how you want to treat me?
Not trying to get you to hang around, is he?
Nope.
Wow.
But, yeah, I stuck that out for a couple years, built the route up that I had, and I think I ended up having like the number 2 route there when I was done. But a lot of it is just the hard part about that job was you had a split week. You're off Wednesdays and Sundays, but on Tuesdays and Saturdays, you were always supposed to leave a lot of extra stock in the back room. And you were always told, I can't tell you to work on your day off, but don't ever let me catch back stock in your stores. So usually you'd go in on your days off and bring bread out and fluff and restock your aisle.
Interesting.
So it was a tough job. And then when we'd stale stuff, because everything, you got the bread ties with all your different colors and coordinated. And
Yeah. Did you know that, Frank? The bread ties, the colors mean things.
yep.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which they change. I mean, and everybody's got their own codes and everything. So like on Mondays, you cleaned everything. But it was like twice a week you would go in and stale stuff. But Mondays you'd clean everything. Do you know where all the stale bread goes?
There used to be a bread store in Cocoa.
Yep.
I don't think it's there anymore. I think they closed down, but they had a bread store there.
Yeah, there's a Wonder Bread outlet somewhere because Wonder Bread bought Merita,
Okay.
Okay.
from what I understand. And then you used to have like the Sweet 16 donuts and all. Now it's just the
Right.
Hostess brand is what you got.
Well, there was a place up on the end of Park Avenue. It
yeah,
was
that little shop
yeah,
there.
little
Yep.
day old bread shop.
Yep.
That was for flowers, I think.
Yes, Flowers. You're correct.
Yeah, and we used to go. Oh, my
It
family.
was right there across from Dray Field.
Yeah, right across from J Field. Yep.
Okay.
I got in a lot of trouble there when I was a kid.
Good Lord.
Not at Dray Field, at
Yeah.
the parking lot there. It used to hold water, and we'd go ride our bikes in there, and I disappeared for a long time, and nobody knew where I was at. Wasn't a happy thing when they found me.
Oh no. Oh no.
Good Lord.
So
At what point did you trade from doing that back to what you started off with?
a friend of mine worked for Gale Insulation in Orlando, and they were looking for somebody to do frameless showers in Melbourne. And they said they needed somebody who was very meticulous and anal about their work. And as soon as they said that, he goes, "I got the perfect guy for you." And that was for Advantage Glass over in Sanford.
Okay.
I was actually working for the branch in Melbourne. I'd just been starting there not too long. So they ended up transferring me over there. They put me with this old Jamaican fella, super nice guy. And after a few months, they called me in and said, "Okay, how are you with the training and all that? Can you?" And I said, he didn't want to train somebody. He just wanted a helper. Because I would ask him, "How'd you go about measuring this particular thing?" He would hold up his tape measure and he'd say, "With this."
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
It's
Yeah.
like, so I told him that. They said, "Well, we'll talk to him." So another month or so goes by. They came back and said, "Well, how's things going?" I said, "Well, nothing's changed, And I said, "Look," I paid attention. I said,
Right.
I'll probably make some boo-boos in the beginning, but I pretty much got the gist of how this goes. And so they turned me loose, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So I did make one big boo-boo on one job, but that was about it.
How long after working for them did you decide to go into business on your own?
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
And was there something that happened that made you take that jump? Did you just finally go, you know what, there's a big enough customer base, there's a lot of building going on. What was it that was the thing that made you go, you know what, it's time for me to try this?
Yeah, it was during the boom of 06, 05, when it was just cranking like crazy. Our general manager, I wasn't installing anymore. I was considered a field service rep, non-commissioned salesman, basically what I was. So the GM still he was like the salesman for all the big corporate accounts. And so, but he wouldn't go out and measure any of his stuff. I'd go measure it. Then we had, a lot of the smaller builders, remodelers, tile guys that did things, whatever. And it got so busy. And then my manager in the glass shop, he would have the schedule set up in the morning. And the GM would come over and push it all to the side and lay out his jobs. And so all the little guys would have to wait. They'd send me out to Harry Homeowner, sell them a shower, get a deposit. Sometimes they were waiting 4 or 5 months to get their stuff done. And some of the smaller builders and remodelers asked me, they said, "Dude, you got to be able to help us and do something." And I said, "Well, I have no control over the schedule." And they said, "Well, you got to figure something out because we can't get paid until our jobs are done and shower closure or whatever's part of the deal." So I was like, "All right, well, let me see what I can do." So it took me about 2 weeks. I had my supplier set up, my license, insurance in place and everything. I started doing it on nights and weekends.
Oh. Okay.
And I did that for a year. And I was about smoked after that year because, I was working anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a day at my job. And then I'd come home and go off and do this. And I come into the office one day, and my immediate boss says, they know what you're doing, and they're going to fire you. He said, but I told them, whatever you do, don't fire him. Please don't fire him. And so I went over there, and they accused me of working for a competitor. And I'm a pretty honest guy. I told them straight up. I said, no, I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you're stealing our customers. And I'm like, if you consider somebody you're not taking care of your customer, then yeah, I am. So I had a company truck. They drove me home. I got in my truck. I never signed any kind of no competes or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out that day and took like $50,000 worth of work away from them that day and never looked back. When the crash hit, of course, all the big monstrosity builders quit building.
Right. Okay.
But all the little guys kept plunking along. And that's what kept me going through the crash. And they actually closed their shop up. Anybody that worked for them had to work out of the Fort Pierce branch. There was guys living in Mims driving to Fort Pierce every day.
Oh, wow.
Whether they had work or not.
Uh-huh.
You know, and so it was just it's been a very slow, arduous process to get to where I am, but you know, here we are working. We're in our 20th year.
You a one-man shop, or you got guys working for you?
I got 2 guys that install for me.
Okay.
And now I'm pretty much.
So you pretty much fabricate it all?
No, we order our glass in.
Okay.
Because it has to be tempered. So the tempering plant, you know, they fab and temper and deliver to us. And then the custom closets I get out of Apopka. I design them all, send them over to them. They fabricate. Then we pick it up and install. Wire shelving, we do the closet-made wire. I stock that. We cut that in-house. So I used to get into like real wood closets and staining them or painting them, but it's hard. That is so hard because it's so time consuming finishing that stuff.
Right.
It's hard to charge enough to make it worth the time and effort.
Yeah.
It's a real tedious process finishing closets.
So we have a pretty large customer base that listens to our podcast, and a lot of those are kids that are, you know, growing up, and many of those kids are going to be working. I imagine, like a lot of us, probably start off working in the trades, doing something via hand. And there's some people that don't go to college, which is a very normal thing.
Sure.
The trades, working in the trades, what are the positives and the negatives? And if there's somebody out there that wants to go into the world of construction or doing stuff like you're doing,
right,
what are some things you would say to encourage them?
You can make a good living in construction. You don't need a college degree, but you need common sense.
Mm-hmm.
You need some math skills, you know.
I know a lot of the people I went to school with that jumped directly into work and didn't go to college because it just wasn't for them. They're actually a lot more successful now than anybody that went to college.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were that far ahead of everybody else, and like you're saying, they had the common sense to go, you know what? I can be 4 or 5 years ahead of you guys.
You do that, you don't incur any debt.
True.
Yeah.
I did go to college for 1 year. Later on in life, I was like 26, and I went back to college, and I went to Kaiser in Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know, family life and responsibilities said, you know, the dean over there, of course, he fought me tooth and nail, trying not to get me to quit. And the funniest thing about college was English was always my worst subject. And it's funny how it clicked when I was 26.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I remember we was in class one time dissecting a sentence, and you know, the professor up there was asking questions, and she said, okay, show of hands, you know, and I was the only one to raise my hand on this one thing, and everybody else, you know, afterwards raised their hand about the other way. And she walked over to me and handed me the chalk and she says, you can now teach the class. I was the only one that was correct.
What are some things you've learned along the way? Being, you know, you've been in business now for yourself for 20 years.
Yep.
What are some things that you didn't know when you started that were like big learning curve things, and some things that you maybe took away from other jobs like truck driving and stuff that you ended up using for what you do now?
Well, the truck driving aspect of it teaches you a lot about how to secure your materials and all that. And you're just a much more conscientious driver. You're a lot more defensive on the highways for sure. You know, most people, you know, and you see it a lot on the roads, people, you know, stopping, cutting across, dude. It's like, if you just read the signs will tell you everything you need to know about the road ahead of you. But you just got to be able to read them and not be on your phone.
Yeah.
Or engrossed in a conversation or fiddling with your radio. The hardest thing that I've had to learn is the business aspect of it. That's a huge learning curve. You know, you got to deal with all the different government entities and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, so I tried to do a lot of that myself and learn and go through all of that. And now I'm smart. I have an accountant.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's got to be difficult too, though, because you're in the business you're in the construction world. You're dealing with a lot more than just you and your people. You're dealing with the ordering things, getting things in, having enough surplus materials to then go out to the job and have the right things with you to do these things. It's like one giant mathematical equation to have all the correct things with you lined up and ready to go. How long did I guess you doing that for another company for a long time helped you understand what you needed to have with you, but when it came to ordering stuff and having it all together, was that quite a bit?
Yeah, that was a huge learning curve because I never did that when I worked for somebody else. The manager did all the ordering.
Yeah.
But I also paid attention to him because it's so critical when you're ordering glass out of square a certain way, and you know you got to make sure you have it all drawn out perfectly for them to fabricate according to your drawing. And I can remember when he would go to order, he had a room out back in the shop, and he would get all his paperwork and his laptop. He'd go in the shop, that room, and shut the door and lock it so nobody can disturb him while he was ordering glass.
Yeah.
Because you get, you know, even my guys, I've taught them that, you know, if I'm in front of my computer and doing things, knock, just don't come blasting in, because you know you lose your attention, and it's like then you got to stop and look and think and like, okay, where was I in this point? And you know, matter of fact, I just found a piece of glass this morning that I didn't order. I printed it out and everything, but I never ordered it.
Oh.
But I thought I had.
But yeah.
You know, and it's like I've already stapled it to the paperwork and filed it in, you know, the order of jobs to be done. And I was going through my emails and I didn't see that PO. And I was like, I know I sent it. And I went back through my emails and I was like, nope, never did.
So
just one piece of glass.
That's a lot of different things going with it. Me and you first met a couple of years ago now. Has it been 3 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you actually had a place open to rent, which my brother Ernie is now working at the building he owns.
Yep.
That's where he runs his business out of also. And it's been...
I try to. Ernie kind of overtakes everything. He's so busy. It's a constant battle about the parking lot.
He has vehicles coming and going to that place like a crazy person.
Yep.
That's a busy man.
He is.
Just like you. You guys are getting stuff done. That place is... You know, I remember when I was a kid, that building used to be busy, but it's never been anything like it is now with you guys both running out of the same shop. It's amazing watching it happen.
How much of that parking lot did I put millings in just to have him so he'd have places to park so they weren't tearing up the...
It's
it
incredible.
was just turning into a mud hole parking in the grass.
Oh, yeah.
All the cars. And so I brought in like 4 truckloads of asphalt millings and had a guy come in and spread them all so they'd have a bigger parking lot.
That's cool.
It's ideal.
Yep.
It's I know for me, on the nonprofit side, which we're on, it's I'm always trying to take things in. You know, I'm trying to absorb information from people I'm watching run businesses and how they do things and how they interact with their employees and how you have things organized. You're moving things in and out, and it's been kind of inspirational watching you work and how you have your shop set up, how things are going in and out.
We're easy to please.
I don't know. It's been neat. I tell everybody this, that business I spend time around, there's something to be learned from every business.
That's
one of the amazing things about doing this podcast and having these conversations. There's something every week where you pick up a couple things and go, That's a perspective I never thought about before. I
Sure.
never saw that. I've never
And
knew
I
anybody
still
that had
learn.
that experience. Or
I still learn something new every day.
Yeah, it's jam up.
I say if I ever stop learning, then it's time to get out.
Yep.
You know, because nobody knows it all.
It's true.
You know, and there's always something new to learn, a different way, a different approach. You know,
Well, you've been a huge support to us and what we do, and you've a couple of different EcoFest events that came together. Your organization was a big part of that happening, so really
Thank
appreciate you.
You're
and
welcome.
man, it's just it's inspirational watching you do what you do. People might hear that and go, it's a construction. You're doing construction. You're building showers and closets. How can that be inspirational? Anything can be inspirational if you see somebody doing it and actually enjoying their work
Oh yeah.
and putting it together. To me, that's joyful.
Yeah.
That's joyful to me.
Well,
But
you
I'm a
know,
weirdo, so it is what
for
it is.
what I do, I give a lot of people, you know, their dream closet or their dream shower, and you know, they envision a certain thing, and you make it real for them. You know, and there's a lot of joy in that.
Oh yeah.
You know, seeing people come in and look at it and go, "Oh wow, I never thought, you know, it
Yeah.
would look this good," and stuff like that. You know, we pride ourselves on good quality work. You know, I don't price people; I just price the job. Doesn't matter. I've got a customer now that the guy's in early 50s. He's a retired multimillionaire, and did his weekend place out in Cocoa Beach, and you know, beat the competitors by thousands and thousands of dollars. And I mean, I did a Murphy bed for him that the next closest competitor was double my price, you know, and stuff like that. And it's like, I sleep good at night. I make a decent living, a fair profit, and I sleep good, you know.
If people want to reach out and find you, learn more about your business, or have you come work on something for them, how do they find you? Where do they find you at?
I have my website, you know, showersandclosets.com. I'm on Facebook. So I actually got to talk to my web designer because we're not getting enough hits.
Well,
I need some more keywords.
we will tag it in this, and we will help you out on that.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll help push it out for you. But Dave, thank you so much for being here
Oh,
and chatting
you're
with us
welcome.
and sharing
Thank you.
sharing your journey with us, buddy.
Yeah,
Really
it's been
appreciate
great.
it. Bill, another
Yes, sir.
podcast in the book, sir.
Yes, sir.
I think this'll be episode. Let's see, today put up is it 142 possibly?
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I think we're at 142.
okay.
This thing is going along, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah.
Seems
yeah,
like
it
just
keeps on
yesterday,
going.
me and you were sitting down at Salsa's discussing this,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
it became
that
a
we were gonna
fruition
do
that
this. Yeah.
we've been working on forever now. This is
Mm-hmm.
I say forever. 142 episodes, 142 individuals coming here and sharing their story, and we got a pretty awesome customer base that's listening
Yeah.
to it all. It's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
It is very cool.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate
Oh,
you.
you're welcome.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Yep. Thank you, Dave, for being here. Really do appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning to the EEARSS podcast here at Titusville High School at Terrier TV. You can find us on all platforms by searching EEARSS or EEARSS. Again, it is the longest acronym on the planet. Just to go through it for you, it's environmental, education, awareness, research, support, and we're starting back over the thumb again, services. We try to cover everything under one label. If you want to learn more about us, the cancer research we're doing, the biodiversity research we're involved with, educational programs, we do a podcast. Have you ever heard of a podcast? I think we do a podcast of some kind. It's something about people and their life's journeys and things of that nature. If you want to learn more about that, you can go over to Alligator Robb, ROBB.com, ears.org, ears.com. I'm confusing you with too many things, so I'm going to stop over ahead. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you all next week. Bye-bye.